mentioned this to me a few months ago. We were trying to figure out the most correct and appropriate thing, given everything time and realizing all you all are going through. But we wanted you to know that the city acknowledges and recognizes your loss and the gains from the community, from the life that Ryan did live. And so I prepared a little proclamation at the council's request, and I'd like to read it, and then I'll present it to you all. We'll take some pictures, and then you all are welcome to stay or go. Whereas the city of Louisa remembers and honors the life and legacy of Ryan Sammons, a dedicated teacher, coach, mentor, and friend who gave selflessly to the young people of our community. And whereas Ryan served with distinction in our schools, making a lasting impact on students through both education and athletics, instilling in them not only knowledge and skill, but also confidence, discipline, and character. Whereas Coach Sammons exemplified leadership, compassion, and commitment, and is remembered for his deep love for his students, his athletes, and his hometown. Whereas the community continues to feel the loss of Ryan, even today, since his unexpected passing 1 year ago, and yet remains uplifted by the example he set and the countless lives he touched. Whereas it's fitting and proper to recognize the contributions of individuals like Ryan Sammons, who inspires to serve, teach, and lead with heart. Now therefore, I, Harold Sloan, Mayor of the City of Louisa, do hereby proclaim July the 9th, 2025 as Ryan Sammons Day in the City of Louisa, and encourage all citizens to honor his memory by embodying the values he lived by dedication, kindness, and a tireless commitment to the betterment of our youth and our community. Signed on this day, and we'll get it on Facebook here. Okay, for all of us. And y'all want to say anything?
I'm just overwhelmed and so gracious to this community. He was the best. He was well known, and he could do about anything that there was to be done. He was very talented and very versatile, and he left the best of him in these two wonderful girls. So I'm very thankful for them and how we've helped each other get through this. But the community is just, it's overwhelming, and there's no other place I want to live.
I have a motion, we approve minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion by Hand. Second.
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Brown. Any questions? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
There was also two attachments, but I just didn't print them and put them in there because we discussed it last meeting. Hope that's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, the attachment that was the garbage truck bid that was attached to the minutes. And also I had a couple other items under old business I just wanted to bring up. One, I want to tell you that the pool, still doing well, and it was going to see how many, real quick, how many people have been to the pool this year. Or, looks like, about 4,100, regular admissions for swimming. That don't count the, exercise classes that they're doing with the adults in the morning, which has continuously increased. And so, revenue so far is about 47,000. All right, with that, and then council member Lester last month brought up about the golf cart business, and Chief wasn't here, but Bud took it up on himself to do the research for it and sent it out, and I wasn't sure if he sent it to you all, but I got it in your packets.
I had her put it in the package.
So you all have it now. And basically, I was just gonna say Bud is here and the Chief is here. If you all have any other questions about this? Is pretty self-explanatory. If you wanna do something, this is your option of what to do. And I would suggest that if you don't wanna do nothing, you don't have to do nothing else. If you wanna do something, I would suggest the next step is to prepare an ordinance and bring it back for a vote. I mean, if y'all wanna discuss it more now, we can. If you wanna say make an ordinance and bring it back, we'll do that, whatever y'all wanna do. But I didn't wanna get back on.
Seems like it always, once you do that, like my friend in Meadowbrook has those electric bikes, the bicycle, the assisted, that thing will go 45 miles an hour. So do we ban those? You know, it's like, if we did, we'd have.
Well, if I read this correct, and I'm gonna be the first, and I didn't get deep into it, but whatever you did, why don't you tell them, but you can explain it better than me.
Yeah, so there's a KRS 189, 286, it leaves it up, they kind of spell out the parameters for it, and then it's up to local governments to adopt. And just basically you can decide which, if you just only want them on particular roadways, or if you let them on all city streets. It does mandate though that they can't be operated on any state highways, so of course we have a few of those that run through the city limits. But then the other provision to that is, if the posted speed limit is 35 miles or more, then they can't be on it. And the state roads that are in town are less than that. So, and then it's just got some requirements. They're not subject to like have a title or vehicle registration, but they have to have insurance, be inspected by the sheriff's office, and then once they get inspected, it provides that we would issue a sticker to them. And that could be, you can charge for that, for them to get the sticker to display on it. But there's some other, like the golf cart, if it's gonna be operated on the road, has to have headlights, taillights, a turn signal, seat belts, can't have more than 6 passengers. And then they're only supposed to have, that many passengers on it. And in some cities, of course, with anything, you can build on that and add more stringent things. And it says that the person operating has to have a valid driver's license. So it doesn't specify, you can get your license 16, permitted 15, but it has to be a valid driver's license. But some cities have even, when I was looking through some ordinances from around the state, I've even put it that you have to be at least 19 or 20 or, whatever. There was even one that just, had the 16 on there. So I
So
definitely think that's
14-year-olds can't drive them.
right. If you don't have a valid license, then you're not supposed to be operating it per the statute on the roadway
Most of
anyway.
our problems are coming from.
I think that was Rose's main concern is the age of the drivers without, parents being with them.
Right. Then we can start,
So just to be sure.
stopping them and taking the golf carts and dealing with the.
Just to be
Backlash
sure
from that.
that we understand, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but if currently, by state law, all golf carts are illegal. Currently,
Yes.
period, no matter who it is. That's the law today. They give you the option, if the city wants to adopt an ordinance that allows golf carts on city streets under the provision that they be, headlights, taillights, turn signals, insurance,
Meets all these requirements.
Yes.
all those requirements, be inspected by the sheriff's department and signed off with the sticker at the city. But one of those requirements, wouldn't be our requirement, the state requires, if you adopt that ordinance, they must be a valid driver to drive it.
What about mopeds and those electric?
So it don't
motorcycles?
say age, it just says
Do
a
they fall
valid
into the
driver.
same?
There's a CC thing on those. If they're under a certain CC, they're not really following the requirements, and I'd have to look into that.
I see
'cause
that
that's a
coming up
different.
next.
Yeah.
So right now, what if,
Mopeds and, they're like, okay, I'll just drive a
And
moped.
of course, there's the UTV or
Yeah.
vehicle thing, the Senate bill that just came out that again falls on similar to this. It's got kind of the same things that you decide.
you got side by sides going right behind golf carts, same
Yeah.
thing, golf carts, top speed 20 miles an hour,
Yeah.
but you get somebody on a racer, they're gonna go 60,
Right.
so.
And kind of our, I mean, as long as they're being responsible and not acting crazy, this is a rural community, we kind of just, you know, let them go, but if they're doing stuff that's causing an issue, then we stop them and address it, but, cause it is, you know, still up to discretion on whether to charge them or not, there's no shalls on any of that you have to charge them, we can stop them and talk to them, but generally, if they're not causing an issue and driving responsible, then, you know, we've not really said nothing to them.
So, I didn't understand what you're saying. Was that law new about that it's been illegal to drive the golf carts? Or is it,
No,
that was already, we've just let the
It's
golf
always
carts?
been illegal to have a golf cart.
But we've just, okay, I didn't under,
Now, Senate Bill, whatever it is, that you just passed,
63.
it's gonna relate to, ATVs, UTVs, similar to this golf cart ordinance. You're gonna be allowed to allow those on your city streets as well
Okay.
if you want to, with, I'm sure, similar requirements. I haven't read it. So the golf cart ordinance don't cover everything, just golf carts.
Right.
And is this all, I'm sorry, I missed that part, is this one already in the KRS? We approved it
What's
before?
in your packet is what the law currently is.
The 189?
Yeah,
So
All
we-
that
that
is the
does-
current law.
All that does is give you the option to adopt one if you want. That's what this.
So we don't have any?
We don't have one.
Okay.
So currently, all golf carts are illegal, period.
I got you, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought this, we were explaining what we already have.
So if I understand this right, the complaint was golf carts being driven by underage people.
I'd say, yeah.
Well, it's hard to ask these boys to be the decider of, well, let this one go and stop this one. I mean,
Right.
cause currently, they're all breaking the law.
Right.
And so if the state give us a way to adopt an ordinance to allow them on our streets. But if you do, they must be a valid
Right.
driver's license holder.
I like, yeah.
And my thought is like, they're on the same streets as cars, they're treating it like cars. If you get in an accident with one of them and it's not insured,
And I have no idea what it's like to try to insure one.
yeah.
I don't know if anybody does. If you all have tried to. I have one, I don't have insurance. I don't know. I don't know if it's hard, you put it on your car insurance, your homeowners, I'm not sure. That's something I have to check.
One thing I might suggest, if the chief could check into some cities around here, see if they have an ordinance, what is good about it, what's bad about it, and just, because we can have an ordinance that's got multiple provisions and possibilities, but, I'd be interested to see what the chief had to say about the experience of other cities.
Yeah, when I'm researching it, I didn't find any like close, but I've got some printed out, I was gonna give to you to look over from several other cities, they're kind of bigger cities out through the state, but nobody local that I found has got one.
Have you talked to the police chiefs of those places that do have the ordinance?
They've kind of just been like our approach, as long as they're being responsible and not causing any issues, they're just, you know, kind of letting it go,
Slide.
Same kind of situation we're in, of everybody local.
The one thing that I don't believe, Bud, and you correct me, that we could not do, if we adopt this ordinance, we could not make it less strict than the state. In other words, this ordinance is gonna require them to have a driver's license. But we as Louisa can't change that.
I think the ordinance is silent on it. My opinion is, it gives us quite a bit of latitude. Now, as far as specifically answering your question, the answer is I don't know. But, I would think that,
Cause you would be,
because it gives us
Undoing the
latitude,
state.
it doesn't say, you know, you can enact it subject to these restrictions or these additions. So I think we have a lot of latitude on it.
I don't think you have the latitude to remove the driver's license.
Well, don't have that.
Yeah.
so either way, you could right now go out, if a 10-year-old's driving it, that's illegal. You could, you could do it right now.
Anybody, we can go out and stop everybody, impound all their golf carts and
Right.
storm the city hall tomorrow.
10 or 100.
Right, I mean, so y'all are really just trying to make them legal, cause like, by this coming up about an age is really,
You can make them legal instead of illegal, but you're gonna require them to have
Right.
insurance and all these lights that, you know, I have one that I don't even use it hardly, but it's fairly new and it didn't have all those lights on it, so I don't know how many of them's gonna meet all those requirements without going and being retrofitted. I don't know.
cause there are a lot, like,
There
it's a
are.
big thing now, and I feel like that's, I mean,
The same thing, we can't.
And apparently that end of town must be where it's, cause I don't never see it
Spread
here.
it out.
it is a lot that way,
Like, I know.
cause I see
I
them.
don't see it here, a lot of kids or nothing like that on this end.
Every once in a while over on, like where I live.
Yep.
I know when mom lived in Pinecrest Apartments, it got to the point where I stopped going through Meadowbrook, going that way. Just because, I mean, there'd be kids flying down those roads.
I passed one on my way here that two girls, probably 10, 11 years old, and that was it. The one was driving, and one was in the passenger seat.
Is it hard to tell the
This
difference
would
in
solve
the,
that.
whatever, the ATVs and the golf cart? I mean, cause they're kinda souped up now, aren't they?
Yeah, if you adopted
Get
this,
them souped up, yeah.
if you adopted this, you would then have to do one for the UTVs.
Yeah.
They look, I mean, they're the same, I mean, a lot of them.
Those
Headlight out.
you go faster.
Yeah.
So if the problem is
I would
speed,
say if you're gonna make.
golf carts will go very
legal, they
fast.
have to have that stuff.
In my mind.
Yeah, that's, I'm sure that's.
If they're gonna treat it like a car, treat it like a car.
Anyway, y'all asking, that's where it stands. The best that we could come up with at this point, golf carts are currently illegal. The state does give you the option to pass an ordinance that makes them legal if they meet certain requirements. And one of those requirements is to be a licensed driver.
If we,
And the insurance part's just something I'm just clueless about.
but do we need to wait and see if we have everything covered on all these points, like the sheriff inspecting it, are they ready for that? Like, if we, pass this and everybody starts showing up with their golf carts at the sheriff's office tomorrow, are they gonna be like, what are
You're
you
not
talking?
gonna pass it that quick. I think step one would be, we would have to create an ordinance.
Oh, okay.
And then you all would have to review that ordinance once, vote on it, and then it would have to be back on the agenda again 30 days later, review it again, vote
So that
on it
gives us
again,
time.
then run it in the paper, then me sign it, then it would come on.
Okay.
So that's how long it would take to do it.
So after September Fest, or, like, we're looking at a lot.
But it is gonna require people to, pay, I believe it says the sheriff can charge, I don't know, like.
$5 to $10.
$5 to $10.
And that's something the sheriff's office would set, not us.
Yeah, that's set by statute for them to do the inspection.
Yeah.
And
The
then we
law
could
does not
charge
allow
for
the
the
city
sticker.
to do the inspection, the sheriff must do it.
Just like.
Just like bid.
Let me make a suggestion here. You know, people say write up an ordinance. I can write any ordinance you want. But I think it's a matter of writing up a good ordinance. And I might suggest that the chief Chief, you've got ordinances from several cities.
Yes.
It's a little bit of extra work, but I think it might not be a bad idea to, if the council could see copies of ordinances from other cities, so they can say, I like that provision, but I don't like this other
Okay.
provision. And that way, I mean, I can walk in here with an ordinance, that's not the problem. The problem is what do you put in it?
Right.
So-
We don't
These
have to-
things
we don't
have
have
to
to
be.
take,
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, there may be things from other cities.
so we don't have to take this one.
This is not an ordinance, but
Right.
this this is a law.
Suggestion.
That is
Oh,
a
it's law.
statute.
Pocahontas state.
That's the super highway.
And kind of put up signs that warn, but kind of let other motorists know that, hey, golf carts are permitted here, so just kind of be cognizant of it. And then there was one city that had specifically spelled out in theirs that golf carts have to stay to the, because it's not in but they have to stay to the right unless they're making a left turn and they can cross and things like that. But yeah, there was one that had, put a sign up to just let motorists know that, hey, golf carts are authorized here, so, just be aware that we can put out, educational things and stuff.
think the important thing to realize is we can't just go say, oh, we're just gonna stop kids from doing golf carts. It's not that easy. You either gotta do this or do nothing. If you do this, you're gonna require insurance, inspections, lights and all
You do
that. And
nothing.
I ain't saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's part of it if you're gonna do
But
it.
we gotta do something, cause it's
It-
illegal.
it-
Otherwise, we're ignoring it. You know, if we kept the status quo, we're letting them break the law.
Which I don't know how the new county attorney, but in the past, when we would try to do things, we were told to not waste our time, that it wasn't, they were dismissing it and they weren't gonna enforce that, so we kinda went along with that too, that okay, if they're not doing nothing crazy, then we're not gonna.
Is there
Stop.
liability on the city if there is an injury and the city allowed it, knowing it was illegal, and someone gets killed?
I wouldn't think.
No.
I wouldn't think so
We
either.
didn't allow it.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as, as long as we're following our ordinance, I don't see
See,
any problem.
Fort Thomas, that's northern Kentucky, ain't it?
Yes.
Well,
It
that
sounds
gives-
like these other little towns like Grace and all them, they're doing the same we are.
Yeah.
Right, they're just doing nothing.
What's the saying? It's been honored more in the breach than in the observance.
Exactly. Okay, well, there it is, that'll be, you either do nothing or you do this, basically.
Well, they also have the option of, if they're under age 16, they can pull them over and give them a ticket for driving without driver's license. But like you said, if you ain't got no backup, don't do no good.
I mean, and I've got no issue with, people using golf carts, kids on the golf carts, it's just, if you're uninsured, if you don't have a license, like, you don't have the experience, you could end up in an accident that could completely ruin your life.
There's sometimes 5 or 6 kids on those.
Yeah.
golf carts.
There's a lot of liability,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
That's what's scary.
Well, y'all feel good about this now, you have
Yeah.
something to look at and think about, on
It's
to,
something to read through.
I don't care a bit. Item number 3, under new business, what's going on this is this is a wastewater new sewer plant project that obviously we've worked on for multiples of years. Caleb serves on the utility board in your all's behalf, so he's up to date on what I'm talking about. We're in need to do some initial financing of properties, and we have the funding through FEMA and other sources to pay that, but those are all reimbursable things. We have to have the money to do it up front and then get reimbursed, then we submit that, FEMA gives the money back. In our case, our FEMA money, the FMA money, doesn't even have a match, so we can get back 100%. But being able to have the cash extra on hand to make those big purchases is gonna be difficult for us. Kentucky Rural Water, which we're a member of, has a program that I was just made aware of, where they do interim financing for those type of situations. What I'm asking you all to do, I do not have the paperwork in front of me, but I didn't even wanna go as far as to fill out an application without council's approval. What I'm asking tonight is if you all would approve for me to fill out an application, see if we could get approved for it, and then bring to you next month what the terms would be, the rate, and which, I mean, he told me from 1,000-foot view, it's like, it has to be paid off in a year, but it can't be paid off for a year, so, a year. And, which that gives us plenty of time, and the interest rate is less than half a bank's, it's 43%. But I would like to, again, I didn't even want to apply for the financing without your all's approval, but if you would allow me to fill out an application, apply for the financing, bring it back here in August with, yes, they'll do it for us, no, they won't, here's what the terms would be, and here's what the rate would be, and so it's no real commitment, it's just letting me apply.
Sure.
And like I said, Caleb, you know,
It's super exciting, everybody should go to it.
Yeah, this is all exciting.
so I have a motion, we approve an applicant, me applying,
Yeah.
filling out an application. Motion by Mr. Rowe,
I'll say.
second by Mr. Farley. Any questions? Ask Caleb. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Which who hasn't in this 100-degree weather. We've had some HVAC issues, actually for a while, over at the community center, the senior center. The building has 3 units. One does the hallway and some offices, 2 does the big room. Just have fought with it really, some working, some not, them complaining. And I'd get somebody to look at it, or my guys to look at it, it'd be batteries dead in the thermostat, or this, sometimes it's things we end up being able to fix, but the last few months, it's just been obviously something wrong more than we could do. I called, Alpha Energy, they've got several, people who work here in town, they're obviously not the only one, but, they was the one that could come the quickest. They came, they worked on, number 1 unit, said they got it working. Number 2, they said they just cleaned and serviced it, worked fine. Number 3, they said the compressor was out and it would cost more to repair it. It's not worth repairing it. So I thought it was under warranty. I looked, you know how that goes. It just run out this year. So, right on time. So I had him go ahead and give me a quote, and this was, he said, state contract pricing. Obviously, it's not near enough money, it doesn't have to be state contract, nor does it have to be bid, but he said it was a state contract price. It's up to you all. I was in a hurry, but, you know, I can certainly get 2 more quotes, or one more, at least. I might have trouble getting 2, I probably could get 1, if you all feel it's necessary. I was worried that they were just roasting over there, but she told me last week that after he serviced those other ones, it was maintaining a decent, they weren't dying. Even with, so they're running on 1 instead of 2, but it was staying cool enough till they weren't miserable or nothing like that. So maybe it's not quite the rush I thought it was, but it's up to you all. These folks changed one out at the fire station 2 about 2 years ago, or 3. Did a good job. It's Scotty Holt is the manager. He doesn't work, but he's the manager, and then Jeffrey, he's went to work for him. You know, I mean, it's just, but it doesn't matter to me. It's just whatever's the best for the. I just, these 2 here back in the early part of the year, both had hiccups, and I had these guys come and work on them. They did a real good job. The bill was very minimal, I felt like, for what they done. They both worked great all summer. So, and I had one company telling me it was shot and gonna have to be replaced, thousands of dollars, and they came fixed it and it's worked fine all summer. So far, I have confidence in their work, whatever you all think. Since I'm bringing it to you because it was not in the budget. We had the money, but I mean, it was not in the budget, and it's a fairly substantial purchase, you know, for a major system, so.
This $6,000, is that for the compressor and the labor that was
That's
done?
just a whole new unit and the labor.
Okay,
That's unit and labor.
Yes.
I thought that was compressor, I was like, that's cool.
Do you know what kind of warranty? I didn't see anything.
I bet it's 5 years.
And
See if I
I
can.
think there's something right there below where it says this possible may be withdrawal by, within 7 days. Go below it, it says warranty,
Okay.
Right above the signature.
right above the signature.
I was thinking like,
Yeah, they didn't.
terms.
I mean, it doesn't say specifics there, but that does, I didn't read it, I can't see that little print. Sorry.
So it's a 5-ton unit. I think we had priced one that was like 2.5, maybe 3 tons, and it was not much cheaper than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's not a bad price.
No, that sounds pretty
I
good.
mean, I don't know what brand or
Yeah, they said it was a
anything,
5-ton split unit.
but, brand can make a difference, but.
I would assume
on
it's
that
5 years on, that's what the other one was. I can check on that. Hey, I text him, but if he don't answer, I can check
I mean,
tomorrow.
that's still an insanely good deal on that.
I think so.
Yeah, I just hate for the seniors to not have it. Huh? Anybody want to make a motion to approve it? Motion by Mr. Clanahan, second by Mr. Rowe, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You have your June, budget tracking in the package, which is the last month of the fiscal year. So, this is exactly how we stood. If there's anything you have questions on, there's one thing that I think we need to, the fire department looks over, and the reason, I'm not seeing it right now, but they had fire at the, did you code the new stuff out there?
Which, oh, the stuff down there?
Yes.
It came out of uniforms,
Yes.
but
So, where it
Where's-
looks like they're over $13,000, they had a fire down there at the power plant, and we lost quite a bit of turnout gear. So their insurance reimbursed us and paid us for the turnout gear. So we had to replace a bunch of stuff, but they paid us for it. So when she coded that, it makes it look like it's over, but we got the money in revenue over there. That's why that's why.
the way that we have to code it out and then back in, it goes under a different
It shows
part of
like we
the,
bought
Right.
$20,000 worth of uniform out of our money, when really we got the
we
money.
got reimbursed for.
I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. If it's revenues and it's showing minus, then you know that means we brought in more money than projected, so that's good. You all,
It really does.
you got plenty of
look
time to
good.
take it, look at it. The new budget just started, so I'm working on the new one now. You all have anything else? Jasper, you have?
I was just coming here to, ask about if you all would like to submit any new projects for the W Waters program.
I feel like the utility board's decision is gonna be to just repeat the project we submitted last year.
Okay,
We
that
did
sounds
not
good.
get approved for. We've already got all the work done on it, but the needs are still the same,
Yeah.
so why not? So I think we've got till last
24th.
And then Jasper also, he's worked for Five Coast, he's kind of our go-between between utilities and Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, the funding agency at the state. And we got approved in this round of SRF, which is called State Revolving Loan Fund Financing, to where it should be able to help us make up that last little gap we were lacking with the sewer plant project. So there'll be more information about that coming soon, but it's great news that we ranked high enough to be in the pile. So that's something we've worked on for 2 years, trying to get our ranking up there.
That had a fair bit of, principal forgiveness too, so
Yeah,
kind of like loan, just treated different,
Yeah.
accounting wise.
yeah. Was we the biggest one in our 5 core region?
You were right behind Ashland
Oh,
for
Ashland.
PFAS treatment,
Oh, PFAS. Yeah.
and that's a separate pot of money, so they're,
Yeah.
that's at think it was what, 40, it was somewhere in the 4.5 million for this final stretch of money.
Yeah.
And then a good, I think it was about 40% of it was principal forgiveness.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pretty,
So,
pretty generous.
They'll send us a letter within the next probably 3 weeks,
Yes.
and that'll come to council at the next meeting, along with utility board. I hope we have it by the next utility board. So, once we get those letters, we'll share it all with you. But
Also,
it is out.
I have this pamphlet from our, business services person, Janie. It's about the revolving loan fund that we offer at 5Co for small business development. If you all would like to learn more, contact Janie at 5Co. We have this pamphlet available. If, anybody wants to look at this, take some pictures and things.
Yeah.
It's basically.
If y'all know anybody, ask me, on the board, fairly up on it. I certainly get you in touch with the person that is.
It's basically low interest loans, better than banks can give you. There's a little bit more administrative requirements, but it's good for people starting or growing.
Yep.
We know Louisa is all about small business.
Okay. Anything else from the council? Anything else from the audience? All right, we did have, 2 items for executive session, both dealing with, acquisition of real estate or dispensation of real estate. I have a motion, we go into executive session. Motion by Mr. Farley, second by Jordan Flanagan. Motion by Mr. Farley. Second by Mr. Rowe, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Bud?
While we were in the executive session, we discussed the status of a possible real estate acquisition, and we also discussed some possible financing. No final decision was made.
All right. Anything else to be brought before the council? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I ask a question though? I know I'm talking, but the 4th of July, was everything good? Like the fireworks went off, it looked like we had a big turnout?
I thought so.
I didn't know.